Topic of the day brought to you by Hampton by Hilton. Where breakfast is free and hot, it's the easiest decision of your trip. Colorado has landed 2 5-star recruits, and Deion Sanders, he's feeling pretty good about the future of this team. Take a listen to Coach Prime talking to reporters yesterday.
We're recruiting our butts off. We're not recruiting just no ordinary Tom, Dick, and Harry. We recruiting some guys that can light up their scoreboard and prevent touchdowns from occurring. We're coming, and we're serious about that. Hope is in the house. Hope is in the air. Hope is in the city. Hope is in the community. Hope is within you all. This is just a pause. This is just a comma. Because there's a lot of people that's going to bungee jump in that portal after spring because they're going to be disappointed in the playing time, the commitment, or the level of participation that they're garnishing. And we're going to take full advantage of that. So we're not done. This is just a comma for spring. But I love where we are.
Coach Prime's not recruiting any Jags. Shannon, how quickly do you think he can compete for a Pac-12 championship?
I think it's going to take a while because I don't know if he has the offensive and defensive line, the interior play. He's talking about guys that light up the scoreboard. Those are skill positions. Guys that prevent that. He's talking about the defensive backs. And I believe he has the skill positions to do that. But you win championships in those trenches. You look at Alabama and what they've been able to do. You look at the Georgia Bulldogs, what they've been able to do.
True.
If you want to compete, you got to get those guys. And I love Hope. Skip, I went to school with a girl named Hope Perkins. There was a deacon in my church named Hope Hagan.
Mm.
I played basketball with his son named Hope Hagan Jr. Hope won't get it done. Talent gets it done, and he understands that. I do believe if they give him time, time will get the job done.
Yep.
But this is not a quick fix because Colorado does not have the level of talent that USC has. It doesn't have the level of talent that some of these other programs have. But like he said, give me time. The portal is a game changer for every university because guys are leaving Alabama, guys are coming to Alabama. Guys are going to leave CU, he's going to be able to get some of those guys also. Give him, I say it's going to take him at the bare minimum 3 years, Skip, because it's going to take, because he has some freshmen, some sophomores. Now, they might not all be there after spring practice or after next year's season. But it's going to take him at least 3 years to get his level of player in that building, offense and defensive lineman. I don't think you have a problem recruiting skill players because he's time. So he'll be able to get those.
No, good point.
It's those big dogs.
Yep.
It's those road graders. It's those guys it's the Aaron Donalds. It's those guys that go put the quarterback on the ground.
Yep.
You win championships, Skip, by scoring touchdowns and preventing touchdowns. And the defensive line is the quickest way to do that. Offensive line is the way to protect your quarterback in open holes. I say give him 3 years and he'll be able to compete.
So you know this man very well.
I do.
I covered this man, know him some. I love listening to this man because he is a gifted orator. He's got the charisma of the most influential televangelist. He's like the greatest Baptist preacher ever. It's just spitting fire and brimstone and hope.
Yeah.
And he sold me. I'm just watching him, and I'm like, I want to sign. Where do I sign? I want to play. I want to be part of this.
Yes.
He says there's hope in you. He's telling the media, and they're thinking, I'm
we
feeling
believe,
this.
I think we got something special here.
Okay. You're right. You're making too much sense at a time there's no sense to be made because he's just trying to create hope, even if it's kind of false hope to start with. You have to create it where it starts to grow into real hope.
Yes.
And I love how he's coming across. And he went on and on. I got quotes here where I just read this and I just absorbed all of it. I even loved this is just a comma right now because we're going to bungee jump into the portal because a bunch of kids in spring are going to go through spring practice and say, I don't know if I'm going to get enough playing time here. I might want to go join time in Boulder. And then he just preached about Boulder, saying it's the hidden gem. Have you ever been to Boulder?
I have.
Yeah. And it's, okay, I've played in Denver, obviously. But he went on and on. He said, the only way you're going to out-recruit me is with a bag. If you got a bigger bag than I do, I'm sure they got some bag there.
Yeah.
Because that program has legacy to it. I don't know if people remember, but they've been a national power. They have won a national championship before.
In the 90s, they were loaded.
Hey.
Coach McCarthy did a great job, but he went to Texas, he went to California, got Alfred Williams, Canavis McGee, Eric Bieniemy, got Flanagan, got those guys out of Watts and Compton. to come to that program.
He did.
Christian Fourier, got a Westbrook, Cordell Stewart.
It's a good one. Yeah.
They were loaded.
Yeah, Christian, good friend of mine. And yet, through my childhood, Big 8 days, when Oklahoma played Colorado, I dreaded having to go to Boulder because we didn't win there very often because it was a hard place to play because they were loaded with all of the above. So he is recreating something that has a long-term foundation to it. This is he's not having to create it out of thin air.
Right.
Up in thin air, speaking of thin air, right? Yeah. And he went on and on. He says because of the coaching staff, the atmosphere, the city, the publicity, the structure, the discipline, the academics, the graduation rate, the food in the cafeteria, it's hard to say no to me. It is. But we're just getting started. But to your point, the skill is there because he's got 2 5-stars there, right?
Yes.
One that he'd already recruited.
And Skip, he's going to have to win. Because everybody has facilities.
Yeah.
Everybody got barber chairs. Everybody got hydro pools. Everybody got pool tables and billiard and ping pong and poppy shot and cornhole. Everybody got that in their locker rooms. You got to win. Everybody got great training table. Skip, everybody got these 5-star chefs and whatever you want. You want omelets. You want quiche. Whatever it is, Skip, they got it.
No, they got it.
You got to win. Okay. You got to win.
So he recruited a 4-star receiver out of Georgia.
Yep.
That'll work. He recruited that running back, that Dylan Edwards, who signed with Notre Dame. He had verbally committed with them.
Yep.
Skill.
Right.
Okay, we got it. The DB that he got out of Florida, that Cormani McClain, he's a stud, man. I mean, he's 5-star.
To go to Miami.
And Travis Hunter, that he'd already had at Jackson State, is a 5-star. He's going to play on Sundays.
Yes.
His son is a very good quarterback. It's hard for me to gauge. He's playing the HBCU schedule.
Right.
It's a step up in competition, obviously.
Yes.
But I think he's pretty good.
Yeah.
And because of his experience factor, I think that's the most important position, but you have to protect him, as you said. Okay, I got it. But at least you've got a quarterback that you know really well. He's your son. And you trust.
And he knows the system.
That's what I'm saying. You can, there's no reinstallation of this. It's already there. And all those coaches, he's got an all-star coaching staff.
A lot of guys were on NFL staffs.
A lot of them. My friend Dennis Thurman for years.
Tim Brewster was on the NFL staff. He got Zim.
He did. Coach Zimmer, okay? So they have brain power at the top, starting with Deion, obviously, the greatest cornerback ever. So I don't know. It was the other funny quote from me. He's like honest to a fault. Sometimes he's disarmingly honest. But he readily admitted the kids who are there who went 1-11. He said I don't even know their names right now. He said we've got names on the back of our shirts right now because I don't know them. And then he said I'm not familiar with every kid. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just being honest.
Right.
Well, what he's telling you is, I don't really care about these kids who went 1-11 because they're not going to help me very much.
Well, that's what, Skip, you started out, that's what you do. You put, well, we didn't put names, we had tape on the back of our helmet. So, because everybody goes spring practice, you had tape with your name on the back of your helmet.
But he's talking about the ones, not the ones he's recruiting, the ones who he got stuck with, the hand-me-downs, right? And maybe there are a few who can help.
Yeah.
And maybe a whole lot of them can help.
Right.
Remember that he, in his introductory remarks to the group, he just basically said a lot of you aren't going to be here very long. Okay, well, that's the reality of the situation because he doesn't want to go 1-11, and I don't think they're going to go 1-11.
I don't think so either.
Could they win 4 or 5 games?
Yes.
They could.
Yes.
In 2 years, could they be a contender for the Pac-12 championship? I do believe that, and it's a lot.
I think the third year is when they're going to make hay.
Okay. It's not a conference known for its defense.
No, hell no.
For Lincoln Riley, defense is an afterthought. And you saw what happened to USC. They could score a whole lot of points, and then they would run into Utah and get outscored.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The last guy that come out of was Steve Entman, the last defensive guy to go out of the Pac-12. He's at University of Washington, went first overall.
He went first overall, and it was a mistake.
Yeah. But I can't think of anybody else to come out of that went number one, that went high. I mean, Thibodeau this past year went 5, but I'm saying
he did.
But normally that guy.
Back in the day, USC had. Defense.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I'm going back to the 70s.
What you talking about, Ronnie Lott, and the Browner brothers, and who else was there?
They had some
Dennis Smith, Chip Banks.
Yeah.
I think Chip Banks went 2 overall. Yeah. But USC was loaded back in the day.
Okay, but then they switched now. They're all offense. UCLA feels like it's mostly offense.
Those late 70 teams were loaded.
Okay.
They had offense and defense.
But my